Hi everyone, welcome to eLearnChat, where you always learn something new. And joining me today is my good friend and co-host coming to us from England, but make no mistake, she is Scottish. It is Leslie Price. Leslie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you, Rick. We're just waiting we've had a lot of rain in the UK. There's been very bad flooding.
Yeah.
So they were saying that we had 2 months rain in 2 days.
And
So
and
we're now
and
waiting for summer to arrive.
and if you haven't noticed, she has a lovely new hairstyle. Looking nice, my dear.
Thank
And
thank
Leslie
you.
is with www.learnappeal.com. That's learnappeal, all one word, .com. Take a look at the site. It's a great project they have to bring skills and other things to third world and others in the quote unquote not so third world who are just as messed up in different ways. It's a great project. Go take a look at it. Leslie pretty much runs it. It's her baby. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Chief cook and bottle water.
Chief Cook and Bottle. We've also got with us Nick Floro. Here we go. And we are back, and joining us in that center position of power, as we like to call it, we've got Nick Floro. How you doing, Nick?
Hi, very good.
It's been a while since
raining and thunder here.
Where are you located?
Outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, Philadelphia. Yeah, they always get rain up there, don't they? It's nice. I grew up in New York. I remember it was always at least once a week we got rain, and it was good. See, we live in California now. We don't get rain that often. Though we have weird climate going on out here and near the LA area, it's not like what it normally is. We're definitely different. But anyway, Nick, how's it been going?
Keeping real busy. Little one broke his arm, but keeps us going. Keeps everything interesting.
When we had a little one, she broke her arm roller skating. I kept telling my wife, don't get her rollerblades. No, she can do rollerblades. Don't get her rollerblades. No, she'll be fine. First time, boom! Broke the arm. I was going. I told you not to get a rollerblades. But anyway, it was just a known thing that happens with certain kids at certain ages. So Nick, what have you been up to work-wise? I know you're always into something new and just constantly changing and doing stuff. What's been in your vision and sights in the workplace?
I was mentioning earlier, we've been around for 27 years, and one of the things that I love is playing with all the technology. So one of the areas that we continue to look to see how we can upgrade is around prototyping. And one of the tools we've been talking about at recent conferences and so on, just to share and explore, is Adobe Xd, which is available free for Mac and Windows. So there's no reason not to try it. And if you have the Creative Cloud, you can take advantage of all the extra features to be able to upload and sort and be able to grab files from different areas, or to share an interactive and be able to prototype with your stakeholders so they can actually see it, and they can even send feedback in. So it's a lot of fun.
And you said for a free product, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And most of us have the Creative Cloud. So if you have that, then you can take advantage of the integration with Photoshop or Illustrator and so on.
Nice. Did you want to share that? You said you had a little demo you could show us.
Yes. Let's make this work. So we'll share. We got too many screens. Here we go.
Now, does XD run on tablets too, or is it strictly Mac, PC, desktop?
It's Mac and Windows only. You have to have Windows 10. But when you create your prototype, you can actually share that link that you build with a stakeholder or a team to gather feedback, and that's so critical. And that just works through your browser.
That's good.
But what's great is they can actually jump in and add little notes. So typically when we start talking about prototyping, we start with sketching, which is a lot of fun. And for those out in the audience that aren't sketching, make sure you practice and play. It's something that you can do with your pen and paper. If you have a tablet, you can take advantage of that. Wireframing is where we got into using programs like PowerPoint and Keynote. And what we've been doing is we migrated over to Adobe Xd about a year ago. It was in beta the prior year. And what I love is that it's free, but it also makes it really easy to take advantage of. So if I come over into XD, put together what they call a design system. And the ideal there is that you start to collect all the objects that you're creating. So you might have the company logo, you might have menu bars, you might have buttons and colors, and all the things that your team would need to use to be able to assemble something. So one of the really cool things about XD is that it supports zooming in and zooming out just like you would on a tablet. So as you start to build different screens, you can pan in and out of all your designs very quickly. So I've got 2 templates here. I'm just going to zoom back in. And the idea is that if you do have a template or a what they call now like design component, you can just drag and drop that onto your page. So I can grab that and pull that on and snap. And if you had like navigation or elements built in, you can go ahead and change that. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this to favorites. And the ideal is that as you make a change or a tweak, it'll automatically apply across all your screens. So I know that I want to have 2 screens, so I can just copy and paste that over or re-grab it here from the components and drop that right in.
That's nice.
But this is where the magic comes in, is that you can start to add graphics. So over here in my Finder, I'm working on a Mac today, I can grab a graphic and then just drop it in. And because I had a blank box, if that was a template, it would just drop that graphic or visual right behind it. So I can come here and say, oh, I already have a tagline that we use, so I can pull that in. And so you can very quickly start to build things. But the really cool part too is that it supports what we call step and repeat. And the ideal is they call it a repeat grid, but I can say, hey, let's make 5 icons here. So I just drag that over, and then I can control the space. So we have these 5 circles, and you're like, what are you going to do with those? So I can come over here into my Finder, and I just have to have some images. So if I drop them in, it automatically drops in because it's a repeated grid into each one of those circles. So those could be buttons, or you can say, I really like the ice cream cone with nuts on it, or the chocolate and vanilla flavor, whatever it might be. But you can very quickly build prototypes. So I can grab this and grab a purple one and grab a red one. And then what happens is as you start to format your copy, we can go in and say, hey, what is this? We can reveal it over here in our assets. So if I say edit, I can say, hey, instead of having it be black, let's go with red. And what it'll do is it'll automatically apply across all of your designs. So just like we did in InDesign or PageMaker going way back, or Quark Express, those same elements are now available in our prototyping tools. And the whole ideal here is that when you start to work with a stakeholder, rather than starting to code in Captivate or HTML or whatever tool you like to use, you build a prototype, you get feedback, and you can start to use that then to figure out, this is how we're going to design, this is how we're going to pull it together. And when everyone's happy, then you go into coding. And they have a prototype tab here. So if I go into this, all you got to do is say, hey, if the user clicks on this, come on over to this page. So I can grab it and just drag it over, and it connects. And then you have ability to add transitions. So if I come over here and just say, let's play it, see what happens. I scroll down. Oops, I'm on the first page, second page. And then I can start to navigate between the 2 different sections. So it allows you to build a prototype. And then what's really cool is that I can share that. So if I email you a link, you can actually click through it on your tablet, your phone, your computer, and then add feedback. It says, Rick said XYZ. He loves it. He doesn't like it. Let's change the color. Let's find your favorite ice cream flavor.
That's pretty cool.
It makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
And it looks very fluid.
So you're saying, Nick, that this is actually a free program?
Yeah, it's available for Windows and Mac. When you download it for free, it doesn't have all of the cloud-based tools. So if you want to share it with your stakeholders, then you need a license. So if you have the Creative Cloud, you have that built in. If you don't, then you would just export it as a PDF. There's even, I think there's like 100 plugins today. So there's plugins to even export this as HTML, which we played with experimenting, but it's not the best. But it's great to, just have options when you're thinking about, this is where we want to go. This is what we're thinking about.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is because next week I'm going to be going to a careers day at a school in London, and it's actually in one of London's most deprived boroughs. And we're going to be doing a session we're going to actually be doing 4 sessions, each session with 30 kids in the group. And we're going to be talking about instructional design, and we're going to get them using, using Evolve. We're going to be getting them to use, an authoring tool. But I'm just thinking that if that's something that's free, that's something that we could also introduce to them, or we could certainly tell the school about it.
Yeah, that's great. And if they don't have workstations, the other app that we use all the time, like when we do workshops, there's a free app called Marvel app, like the superheroes, but it's not related. So if you go to marvelapp.com on your iPhone or your Android device, you can download that. And what's cool is you can have the kids just draw on paper. And if they have a couple tablets or they all have phones, you can take pictures of the designs and then add the interactivity. I did it with a third grade class.
We're actually going to be working with the session that they're running. We ran one last year, and when we were doing it last year, we literally created a course, but we did it with them as a group, and we only had the front screen, where we were actually, doing the lesson from, and it went down so well. The kids absolutely loved it. And so
great.
This year, we're actually putting us into one of the computer labs. So each student will actually have their own computer.
That's great.
So I think
they're really excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can speak to the school, because most of these young people, when we went last year, most of these young people, when we talked to them about e-learning industry, they actually thought you needed a degree in IT in order to work in the e-learning industry.
Got it.
They could not believe. Yeah.
That's great.
They couldn't believe it.
One of the great things, and this can help them out as well, is with the Adobe library. They have a whole online, like, how to use the tools, but they also have a library of resources. So you can download what they call wires, which are templates. So if you're doing a phone app or a tablet or computer, you can grab these different elements, or if you're working on a dashboard, and then you can, just like I showed you drag and dropping ice cream, you can drag and drop whatever your subject matter is into the course or product. And what's really cool is Microsoft has built a template, Apple's built a template, and then there's hundreds of designers contributing. And it's just a great way to learn and share and grab stuff to be able to use, and rather than starting from scratch every time. So it really helps to jumpstart your ideals and projects.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So is this part of what you're using as a project? We were talking earlier about another project management system.
Yeah, no. So we'll use this to work with stakeholders to go through it.
Right.
For project management, we're using a couple different tools. We actually have a product that we developed for our own groups that we work with called Launch Cycle, which is free. The other big tools that are out in the market today, Trello, Asana. The other one that I use personally now is MeisterTask. And what I love about that one is that it lets you have a smorgasbord.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. Which one?
Well, that's the one that we're planning on, MeisterTask. That's the one that we're actually going to be using in Learn Appeal.
Okay.
Because even the free option, you get it's really good.
Yeah,
we've been powerful. We've been using Basecamp. I haven't tried the other one. It's called Mastro.
Oh, yes.
MastroTask?
Meister.
Meister.
It's a German-based company.
Got it.
Yes.
MeisterTask.
Yes.
I'll take a look. I haven't heard about that one, so I'll take a look at that one. Basecamp is pretty good. They've been good.
It's worth looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth looking at.
Yeah, we started with Basecamp and then just kept growing. It's like, let's do this, let's try that.
Right.
So every once in a while we come back to it.
It's a little funky sometimes. The interface isn't bad, but it's a little kludgy. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So one of the other fun things, we're at a conference this week in Philadelphia, actually this weekend, opening up ISTE, which is not even sure what it stands for, but it's for schools in technology, and they have 13,000 people coming from around the world. But one of the platforms that we got to work on over the last couple of years is for students starting in second grade going up to high school. But we're working with a company out of Chicago called the DBQ Project, and they're about 15 teachers that are in the company, and they all taught history. And one of the things that kids have to learn about is how to create a DBQ, which is a document-based question.
Okay.
But like kids in high school going to college, they have to answer one of these questions. But one of the really cool things about it is that it's very heavy text based, and the ideal is to help kids organize ideals and thoughts, and it applies so much to what we're doing in learning. But the basic ideal is that they can pull out sticky notes, they can highlight with their mouse or their cursor or their pen or tablet, whatever they have, and they start to organize their ideals into buckets. But it actually then walks them through the process of writing. So I have an 8-year-old and a 15-year-old, and what's fun is that when you tell a young one they have to create an essay, you're like, oh my god, even adults are like, I've got to write how many sentences or how many paragraphs or how many pages, how many words. But this basically works you through, like, once you start to organize your thoughts, you start to write a sentence and then a paragraph, and it walks you through the process, breaks it down into little steps, and then it flows it into the essay. So when kids get to the end, they're like, oh my god, I've got an essay, I did it. And in the first year they had about 1 million students go through it. And what was really exciting is that they have the 5th grade students competing with the kids in high school at the same level of writing because of the way that they're applying and they're going through that process now. And that gets me all jazzed up.
That is pretty cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I think most kids hate writing because they're just not good at it. They don't practice it, and nobody really works with them to make them any better. So they don't want to write. They'll write social media, but they won't really write other things because it's like, I don't want to write. Writing's hard. And then when they get into it, they go, hey, writing's not that hard.
Yes, exactly. They're writing text messages, short sentences. So this helps them break down that process and then work up to, I can write a whole essay.
And I think writing short messages or things like Twitter are great for synthesizing stuff rather than just putting out blah, 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 blah. Most people don't know how to tell you in one sentence what they want to tell you. So those tools are actually good for that, if they take advantage of it.
Exactly, yes.
Except when they then go to college, as you would call it, or university, as we call it, and they've actually to do a 3,000 word, end of year, dissertation or essay or whatever. Then 1 or 2 liners, putting them all together, doesn't work.
No.
Right. Yes, this helps get them ready for that process. And one of the other things that we've been focusing on over the last couple of years is how to build applications. So using tools like Adobe Xd, this was a early wireframe that's actually now available, but from the library of 16,000 pages of content that the teachers have access to, they can actually customize. So they can say, in this unit about ancient Rome, we're going to talk about the hook, the background, and questions. And then they can choose, like for a student that might be more advanced, they can pull out what they call scaffolding so that they can focus more on writing that 3,000 line essay, where the kids that might be struggling a little bit more, they can have more scaffolding to help them with understanding the reading or defining elements and breaking it up. But it makes what we do so much fun.
That is great. You want to come on back to the screen?
Yes. Screen sharing off. There we go.
There you are.
I'm back.
That's good. I know you've always been into media, audio, video. What are you doing media-wise with video and audio now?
That's great question. So we've been experimenting a lot with AR and VR and figuring out how to use those technologies with got the Oculus Quest last month.
Yes.
And that's
how do you like
so
it?
amazing. Yeah, it's so cool. We've had the HTC is actually behind me and the bigger Oculus. But what I love about the Quest is that it's totally wireless and it's not tied to a computer, so you can be at home or in the basement.
What is it? $500 I think. Is that what it was?
Sorry?
Is that $500 I think for it? I can't
remember.
Yes,
it's $399 for I think 64 and $499 for 128 gigs.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what's really cool and exciting is that the tools are available. It's just learning out how to put those pieces together. So like using platforms like Unity or Unreal, you're able to start to build these worlds or environments where people can actually experiment and do different tasks or simulations and so on.
Now, a lot of people are using the simpler tools like what Captivate put into their, the VR stuff, which isn't bad for a simple kind of get started thing.
Amazing.
What would you say to somebody who is getting into VR? They want to learn how to do some VR. Would you start them off with something like an Unreal or one of the other ones, or would you put them into something simpler?
I think depending on their level, if they're more comfortable with Captivate, that's a great way to get started because the tools, it's built in now. You can say create a VR object. What's really exciting is I've got one over there if you want me to run and grab it. Samsung has a little camera that's $150.
Yes.
And you're able to shoot a 360. And I remember way back in the 90s, to shoot a 360, we had to take 36 images. It would take a day, about 18 hours for the computer to process those 36 images into what we call a QuickTime VR. But today it's one click, you got it, or you can shoot video in real time and you're able to then put the helmet on and start to spin around. Or you can actually display it so you use your mouse to navigate if you don't have a headset.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. Actually, VR has pretty much come almost to the level of anybody can do it.
Yeah, there's lots of...
and the price is coming down too. The prices, I mean, it used to be that it was just so incredibly expensive that it put an awful lot of people off. And we had Marco Ficini. You probably, he's Markable on Twitter. I'm sure you've come across Marco Ficini. But he was talking about how important, VR is in vocational education, in building skills, or doing things if you're training people where, it's too expensive. If you're offshore on an oil rig, if you want to train people before you go of all the hazards, you don't want to be taking them out there and they're facing all these things for the first time.
That's great example. And I think just like everything else, the tools are going to get cheaper, less expensive. It'll be easier for everyone just to jump in. And it's amazing what you can use your phone for today to create. We were talking about how young we are, Rick, earlier, and Leslie, and the ideal around in the 90s we used to carry 2 crates of equipment to do video editing, and today I can do the same thing on this little phone. It just still blows my mind.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. What are you editing video with nowadays?
I'm still an Apple fanatic, so I like to say Final Cut. We use most of the creative work we do is in After Effects, which I grew up on and love. But if you haven't played with Premiere Clip on the iPhone or Android device, it's a great way to shoot, edit, and start to prep content, and then you can feed that back to the full version through the cloud. But
there's a video editor that you can get. Oh man, what's it called? I have it. I haven't used it much, but it's on the Mac. It's on PCs too, and I think it's only on Mac. Maybe it's not even on Mac. It's on the iPads, iPad Pro. What is it called? Just drawing a blank. Which one?
There's an amazing one called Explain Everything.
No, it's a
which
different
I love.
one.
Okay.
I've seen Explain Everything. This is another one. It's a full-blown 4K editor for a tablet.
I've got it here.
They're part of another company. It's not Resolve. It's part of a different company, or Blackmagic. It's something else. Darn. But anyway, I should have prepped ahead of time and looked it up. But it's a pretty cool video editor. We still use Premiere a bit. We're starting to move towards DaVinci Resolve, which also runs on the Mac. It's not only a great coloring tool, but the video editing capabilities are far starting to exceed that of Premiere. It's pretty cool. It can do 4K. It can do all sorts of stuff, and it's fast. It's pretty fast, and it's free for the most part. You can spend $300 and you get the full version, but that doesn't give you much more other than maybe H.265 and a couple of other things. But it's pretty cool, and it has a built-in thing called Fusion, which is like a mini version of Nuke. It's a node-based animation tool, like After Effects, built right into the systems. You've got audio, video editing, quick editing. It's got all that built into the system. I like Final Cut, but I'm not a Mac user. We have several Macs in here, but we don't use them that much. But Final Cut, I wish the Final Cut would just go to a PC too, and I wish they would just open it up, but I don't know if they will. Probably not. But it's a great tool. It's very visual, which is what I like about it. It's probably one of the most visual ones.
There's another free one we just started playing with called OBS Project.
Oh yeah, we've got that. We've got that actually.
Okay.
Well, OBS is a video switcher, right?
Yeah, you can do live feeds, but you can also record it, and it's Mac and Windows. It's free.
Yep.
So I've been experimenting with the.
It's not too bad for free.
Twitch style. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They also have another one called OBS Labs. Mm-hmm. If you get that one, that has all the built-in social media, monetizing, and anything else you want if you're doing videos.
Got it.
For YouTube and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's OBS with another add-on which is the kind of social media marketing and donation system, if you will. So they have it all built into it. Not bad. Same OBS with just some more stuff added.
Gotcha.
So those are cool tools, and like you said, they're mostly free. So it's hard to.
Now you see, to a Scot, that is music to my ears. Us Scots are well known for being what we call canny. You look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. That's what my granny taught me. So all this, when I'm hearing free, I'm thinking, I'm writing it all down as you're going through it, because I'm thinking when we then go to this school, we can actually be telling the teachers if they don't know about these things. Because obviously, I don't know what funding is like in schools in the States, but in the UK, schools are being really hit very hard with funding.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a trigger.
That was a trigger. Yep. Wow.
There was another really cool, fun app, and I'll stop with the apps. But when I discovered this morning, it just blows my mind with the whole idea around machine learning and using AI. It's a practical application, but it's called photos.icons8.com. And what it allows you to do is start to type in, I'm looking for a businessman in his 40s, but the objects are all keyed. So you're able to assemble and collage, and then they've gone in with the machine learning, and you're able to swap faces. So
nice.
You want, it's crazy, and it's all automatic. You just pick and choose, and you say randomize. But rather than having to do a shoot, it's still a little primitive, but it's fun to look at and just start to think about in a year from now how much farther we're going to be. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I hope all this is going to go in the show notes. Nick.
We should. We'll go back and review through it and put it in the notes, because these are fun things.
Yeah. I think they're very useful, because if you're doing when you're doing your day job, you are often so busy and so chaotic and so hectic that you don't have time, an awful lot of the time, to actually do the surfing and find the new things. So it's shows, like shows like this, where you can then, or other people's blog posts where you can actually read all the hints and tips. I know, you would call it curating content or whatever, but to me, it's really useful. Really useful. So all in the show notes, please, Harold.
Yep. That's good. Well, believe it or not, we are pretty much almost at the end of our time. That was good. That was a fun show with a lot of good information.
Wow. Yeah.
Nick's
Excellent.
a wealth of information. And you know what I like about Nick? He's been doing this for a long time, and he still loves the toys. That's what I've always liked about you. You like the new tech and everything else, and so do we. But you can tell that passion's in there, and that's fun because you're finding all sorts of really good tools, and that makes it fun for everyone.
Yeah, totally agree.
So anyway, Nick, we look forward to seeing you again on the show. Are you doing any trade shows anytime soon?
Later this year, we'll be at Learning Solutions.
Okay. This year or DevLearn?
I'm sorry, DevLearn. Thank you.
DevLearn. Well, I'll see you at DevLearn then.
March, yes.
Are you presenting at DevLearn?
Yes, we're doing a session on creating amazing experiences using tools, and some are free.
Oh, cool. That'll be cool.
Hope to see you then.
That'll be great. Well, we'll see you probably at DevLearn.
You have to try and get over to Learning Technologies Conference and Expo sometime, Nick.
That'd be great. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we went for the first time last February. It was good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's busy, but it's Rick was quite impressed with the caliber of people that actually attend.
It was fun. It was good. It was energizing. So that was good.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, anyway, Nick, thanks again for coming. We'll have all your information in the show notes below. If anybody wants to contact you, what's the best way to do it?
Twitter, or you can email me at nick@sealworks.com.
Sealworks.com. Okay, we'll have that there. Well, Nick, again, thanks a lot. Leslie, as always, we'll keep looking for free things for you, so that's important. And,
good stuff. That's what we need.
Yep. And anyway, have a good one, everyone. We will see you next week on eLearnChat. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.